Take a deep breath. Deep Conversations are starting.
Hi everyone, from Deep Conversations by Breath Hub. I have a lovely, lovely lady over here. She's just gorgeous. She's this amazing lady. I would like to just shut up and leave the stage for you. Welcome. Thank you for taking the time. Thanks for being here. And I already appreciate your energy. You're just beautiful. And would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. Thank you, Nevşah. I am so grateful to be here. This is amazing. And I just feel like this is so needed right now. So my name is Ali. I go by Ali Freely, free.
You get it.
Yeah, and a part of me is I really believe in freedom of the mind, spirit, and soul. Being a Sagittarius, it's a part of my makeup. So listening to the name Free really spoke to me, and I've been behind that. But I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you, Nevşah.
Yeah, thank you. And I would like to learn more about how did you go on your own journey, like how did this thing start, like breathwork, yoga, and finding your own self and who you are and connecting with within. Like, when did you start? How did it start? Why did it start? And what's the story behind that?
Since I was younger, I just really loved all things art, visual art, theater, music. It just soothed my soul. And I was very grateful to my mom for involving me in all of these artistic activities throughout my childhood. And then getting older, I made the decision to go to school for acting. And so I committed that, committed to that for my undergrad. And I came out of that and decided, okay, so I'm coming back home. I have the goal of moving back to New York and pursuing acting, but I really want to have really a practice that's going to really allow me to be grounded throughout it. And so yoga has always meant something so much to me. And so I started really deepening my practice, and I went to Kripalu Yoga to get my certification. And through doing that, it changed my whole life for the better. But I, went into acting school thinking this is exactly what I want to do. And then I came out from the certification and I was like, wait a minute. I just, reflecting back on it, I feel that there was a lot of ego involved in that decision-making that I had. And coming back to yoga, I came back home and I realized, I can acknowledge the ego. I can put on my witness and understand what it looks like, see it through compassionate lens, as I always like to say. And I understand that, the ego weaves its way in to help you do certain things. I get that. So it's necessary. But at the same time, in terms of how I want to live my life, I completely changed, and it made me feel like so much more free, so much more alive. And through doing that, through deepening my yoga practice, I got really into breath work and really into, all the things that I learned in theater school about breath work, about audible sighs and all of these breath techniques. It just goes hand in hand. It all comes back to each other. So in my yoga classes, I'm just so focused on, how can we express ourselves more? How can we step outside of ourselves, take up more space, and allow for that breath to be a part of the whole entire experience, to guide the whole entire experience. So theater is still a part of me, just through my yoga and through the way I am as a person.
Yeah, how you use your body and how you connect with your breath and your movement, because that's basically life. And maybe you literally realize that breath work is the art. It is the art of life. It's like, I think many people, especially people who haven't practiced breathwork or who haven't done breathwork sessions or who haven't taken the time to just sit and connect with their breathing, they're underestimating what breath is. But actually, like many people say, it's like we take our first breath, we come into this life, we breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, and then we breathe out, and then we're gone. So it's kind of like what we call life, as simple as it gets, is just a breath in and breath out and inhale and then exhale we take in between. That's just life. That's basically what life is all about. And I think we are underestimating our connection with life, the breath that's been given to us. And before our podcast with you, with the other podcasts, because I've been privileged to interview and have deep conversations with different breath workers and different meditation teachers, yoga teachers. And I think we are all on the same path, all on the same page on this one. It's kind of like the moment you start breathwork meditation in yoga, because you leave the rest of the world behind, you connect with that natural tool and you connect deeper and deeper into your being. It's kind of like you cannot escape from yourself anymore, which is kind of like the true self. There's all those people talking about the true self, finding yourself, finding your true self. I tell them, like, just try deep breathing, just do some deep breathing, some breath work, 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. And then you will not only find the true self, you won't even, be able to run away from that, because it's kind of like, as we breathe in, the voice of our inner being becomes louder and louder and louder and louder. And it's kind of like unstoppable. And that's probably what you've been experiencing in that yoga certificate program, because you sit down, breathe, connect, move, do yoga, connect with your body, with your mind, with your spirit. And it's kind of like you're naked in that.
Oh my gosh.
And you can't, that's just pure you. And, that's it.
Exactly. That's your core essence. You get back to, I just love everything that you just said, Nevşah. And you get back to, in a similar vein, your roots. When you're in Mother Nature and you're looking at the trees and just seeing, okay, so they have their roots and their tree trunks, and then they branch out and they sway in the wind. And sitting in Mother Nature, you can find nature to be a mirror to your soul. And so it's just, it's your breath work it's coming back home to that foundation of this is the human, this is the spiritual experience, this is it without all of the accessories, like you said, naked.
Yeah, kind of like the dance. And because you said trees and the roots, it's kind of like, I find it amazing to just watch, just to sit there and watch, like the roots of, like, there are big trees in London, especially in parks, and we live very near to Richmond Park, and there are hundreds of years old, trees. And just looking at how their roots have been growing and how they've been grounding, and the leaves, it's kind of like that growth itself happens through breath. It happens through life. It's kind of like you can see the signature of breath and life everywhere. It's kind of like this artist, breath itself is the artist. It's the spirit. It's just the signature behind of it all. I think that's why people are underestimating it. It's like the signature of life. It's like the way I breathe shapes up my reality. It's like my thoughts and my emotions and how I move. When it's stiff, I'm stiff. Where it's stiff, I'm stiff. Where it's moving, I'm moving. It's kind of like our relationship with our breath equals to our relationship with life. And the breath actually, like signs, like it is the signature of how we live our lives. It's kind of like this, Just by looking at someone's breath, because I've studied breath and breathing habits and behavioral habits for a long time now. It's amazing to see that just by looking at somebody's breathing habit, you can tell everything about them. Like their issues with life, whether it's relationships, business, self-confidence. It's just amazing. I mean, if people knew about this, more people knew about this, I think the world would definitely be a different place.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, very different. Yeah.
Very, 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 very different. Yeah. And I feel that way too, Nevşah, where you can tell so much about a person by the way they talk and they breathe, and they find what's open, what's not within their energy. So when I first started teaching yoga, I involved, without realizing it, but yet I did, involved my theater practice. And so the pandemic brought about this amount of awareness where I could see these recordings, see how I was speaking. And it was very challenging at first because I realized that I was putting on this theater voice, and it was taking me away from my body, and I wasn't embodying my own breath. I was embodying a vision of what I think I need to be in order to be something for someone else. So my yoga journey just continues, getting certified. Yes. It just continues. So then, this amazing mentor, Lindsay Gibson from Majestic Yoga Studio, she took me under her wing and she brought this to my attention. And so I started to really, really focus on it. And all of a sudden now teaching, it's just completely transformed my experience. And I show up having shed that performance part of me and just come into it as, this is the yoga, this is the breath, this is the body, this is the whole system coming into alignment with itself, instead of being separate and reaching into other things to make it wholesome, coming, trying to string it all together. No, it's just all within. Take me or leave me. Here we are. So, I just can see that. I can see people's lives and how we're all at different stages. We're all in our own evolution of changes over time. And it's just quite the experience to understand. Yeah.
Isn't it? I mean, when you were talking about that, isn't it amazing that we are born as being ourselves, and then we get lost into a world and we forget about who we are. And then the toughest journey of it all is then coming back to ourselves. It's kind of like, when you think of it, it's like, most people think, I am who I am. But what if not? What if you're not what you're not? What if you're not what you are? Because many people, it's kind of like, for me, for my own experience, seeing that happening and seeing that already happened for people is just so amazing, because people don't give it a second thought. We are so much conditioned in the 21st century in being someone else other than ourselves. And we so much think of that ourselves, is just, for me, it's hilarious what happens when people come back to their breath and realize that's not them. It's like, it's hilarious. How could me? And that's the same story with me. It's not to say that, they are like that. I was myself the whole time. No, I was there as well. Like, I wasn't so not myself, like connected with my true self in my 20s. I literally was looking at my life like a picture of someone else, and I couldn't see myself into it. It was kind of like this conditioned woman. It was kind of like I created a perfect life for myself, but it was the perfect life of another one, And then I was like, where am I in this picture? And I couldn't find myself. And more and more people are like that, because if we don't take the time to really question who we are, if we don't take the time to connect with our breathing, go deeper into ourselves. It's kind of like we live life as almost like a puppet of the conditioning. And I can look back and see myself in my 20s like a puppet of conditioning, trying to belong to a group of people. And I wasn't that individual at all. So it's very brave to get out of that. And once you do the breath work, you cannot not get out of that. But it's also like very tough. And people think like I am this. And with 25 years of experience of self-exploring and working with thousands of people, I'm like, are you sure you are that? Mm-hmm. Maybe not. Mm-hmm. And maybe all the symptoms and sicknesses and the illnesses and addictions or whatever is because you are not that you are. So it's kind of like, it is tough. It is tough for people to first of all get it and then come back to their true selves. And even though there are a lot of people who talk about these nowadays, I don't think there are a lot of people who took the step to be really themselves, like the way they are. And this is it, no conditioning, nothing, no right, no wrong. This is it. I'm this.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And people might be even thinking like, what would that give me? Why would I need to be myself, my true self? Because sometimes it's kind of like woo-woo for some people. Like, why would it be myself? What are you talking about? Be myself, true self. It's like if you're listening to me and if you want to live a fulfilled, extraordinary life, that's the only way.
Yeah.
Connecting with your true self.
Yeah.
Or life gets disgusting.
Yeah. One or the other, for sure.
Yeah, what was when you look back at your own transformational story, what was the one is there a kind of like an incident where you were like, yeah, I see, like a slap on the face or maybe something like shown to you, like get out of there and this is not you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm just thinking about how when growing up, I felt like I was very eager to please, and I didn't know that until later. And figuring out, okay, what do I want? What is really important to me? How do I want to live my life? Not how someone else expects me to live my life. Because at the end of the day, this is my body, this is my instrument, this is my heart, this is my spirit. And yes, you can share that energy with the world, but coming back home, like you've mentioned, is just so important. So I'd say growing up, explored being in Christian school, and then I started questioning certain things, and I came deep into myself of, what is God? What does that mean to me? And it completely, by questioning instead of just being this person to mold and to questioning, I started thinking, okay. And then came college, and then came acting, and then came my yoga certification, continuing with the questioning. So I had these certain moments of questioning throughout my life. And the Christian school one was like a big one, because coming into college, I realized, oh my gosh, like in the people I was meeting, and especially in the yoga world and everybody, the way people were just totally living their lives unapologetically, expanding, doing what they want to do for themselves, and finding God in their own way, I realized, oh my gosh, like this is it. This is it. So there were different moments. Like Christian school started it off, and then the questioning, and then I started like being really proud of myself for real, having that self-awareness and really like just questioning, realizing, what that means to me. And then coming into yoga and then into my own art too. And not thinking, oh, art has to be this, oh my gosh. So one specific example, I was in P-Town taking an art class, and I was so focused on taking this sheet of paper and this little tiny 8x11 sheet of paper and doing a figure drawing and getting all the dimensions correctly. Just really hard on myself about it. And my two teachers came over and they were like, Ali, I love what you're doing, but let's put that aside. Let's get a big poster board, put it up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so intimidated. Big poster board. You're going to use all these vibrant colors. And what is it that what is coming out of you that you're like, oh, you need to explore this. That's just so within you that needs to be put on this. And forget about the dimensions, just come from this place of authenticity. And so I did that, and I opened myself up. And it's a form of just being given that permission to just expand. And then all of a sudden, my art started to become into this whole new thing, getting past the limiting beliefs, getting past the conditioning, getting past that. It's the same thing, getting past that narrow mindset of dimensions, and into this is the essence. So I look at that and I think, okay, Christian school, look at that and think of, my yoga and performing, and look at that. And I'm like, in my art, and it's in terms of expansion where I can find what makes sense to me authentically and go from that place.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Hearing that and watching you be that. Yeah, it's amazing. That's basically yoga and movement and breath work and being one with life energy. And and I in my own school I call and Breath Hub is kind of like our baby project, which is like, as you know, we have hundreds of different breath workers in the project from all kinds of schools. And why we developed Breath Hub was, I've been using breath work for many years, and it's such a powerful tool. And there are no best way of breathing or techniques. Like, I wanted to, share with the world all of the techniques and all of the, breathwork schools and practices, because I think breathwork itself is very much powerful. And in my own school, I mainly teach around behavioral sciences and do a lot of mind work and a lot of meditation and also strategic planning. And it's kind of like the ego or the human self brings those dimensions, as you mentioned, like the systems, and that's the male side. And if we are too much concerned or too much into that, then we lose our spiritual power or spiritual guidance. So I think it's very important for, especially for women, and then for men as well, to be able to just at one point let go of all of it and just connect with our breathing, because that's gonna give us the results we want. Okay, keep on doing strategic planning, use coaching, use mentoring, use all those methods. But it's like, if you don't have life inside yourself, if you don't have that flowing energy, nothing will make sense. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah. I know you're getting ready to read us a poem. Yes. I would love to hear it. I hope I don't cry.
Dana Falls has a way. She has a way. So she's one of my favorite poets, and I got to know her work when I came back to Kripalu for a teacher's reunion. And so this is from the book What's True Here, New Poems and Other Writings by Dana Falls. And so she's deep in her yoga practice, years of that lovely experience and breath work. So this is called The Simple Act of Breathing. One slow breath awakens my awareness, and a second takes me deeper. Each breath connects me with the mystery until I'm not sure where my imagination ends and wonder begins. At that porous boundary, joy trickles in like groundwater or rushes through me like a flood. Either way, I breathe enough amazement to fill me, toes to crown. The overflow, and there's always more than I can hold, runs down my face and tastes like the first honeysuckle to bloom when spring gives way to summer. One breath enlivens my experience, the next delivers healing and contentment. The simple act of breathing sets me free. It's just breath in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, if there is anybody out there who wanna go beyond their conditioning and just connect with who they really are, and yeah, it is spirit, it's life, it's God, it's the life force energy. There's nothing else. It's like when I hear people talk about, we are the universe and we are everything, it's like, talking about it and really experiencing it and appreciating it and connecting with it are two different things. And I think breath itself is the only way we can connect with that, like the whole universal energy. It's the only way we can open to that and receive that and explore that. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like it can even be a natural psychedelic if you go deeper and deeper and deeper. It's like it's unlimited force of energy. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think we can talk more about breathing. It's like, try. Anybody listening, just try. Try a few breathwork techniques and you will probably be experiencing the same thing like us. So one last question. Thank you for being here. And I really do appreciate the art over here of speaking to you. If there was one thing you wanted to teach humanity, like there is one thing you want humans to get, what would that be?
Oh my God, what a beautiful question. To me, I'm creating my own business right now with life coaching, art, somatic embodied movement, breath, meditation into one holistic practice. And to me, my love language has been to teach myself as a woman to take up the space I so deserve, to take up more space, to know that I am capable of really, truly widening myself for myself to see, for others to see. And through that comes magnetism. So to answer your question, I'd say, I want other women to know that they can take up space. And that might not mean, it might not mean like buying something extravagant. That's not what, no, taking up space in your body, mind, spirit, taking a breath, taking it up, fiercing it out, fiercing. And going from this place where I take up space, you take up space, we have this heart-to-heart connection, and all of a sudden, we're like magnets to each other, and we start to build that sacred community where our hearts are talking. It's that form of togetherness. So especially during this pandemic right now, expansion is so necessary.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, the Shakti.
The Shakti.
Yeah, I love the sound of it, like Shakti. That's the power, and that's that's the next level of the sacred feminine energy. It's like, I think we're there. Like this whole thing, this whole story, what has been happening, it's the sacred feminine game we're playing now. It's like everything changed, and that's why everything is shifting, the whole economy, business, people's lives. It's like how I feel. I mean, like from the beginning of the pandemic, even like kind of like a year before the pandemic happened, I was kind of like hearing deep in my heart and deep in my core, like this Shakti roaring, and that energy building and building and building. And when pandemic happened, I was like, yeah, that's it. She did it. It's like, that's the sacred feminine. It's like, boo, I'm going to stop you. This is it. You're just nonsense, this whole rat game and people playing and and I found myself the most interesting thing is like a year before the pandemic in one of my meditation courses, I found myself talking about something like, we are like people are eating too much and people are spending too much. People are like, there is this whole unconscious spending and running and this rat race, and like I was talking about, like there are 10 times more clothes in everybody's closet and there are like 10 times more food and there are 10 times more friends you should be having. It's like this exaggerated active male way of being all around the world. And I found myself telling people like, you need to stop, like we need to stop, take time to stop, like go within, this is like too much. And then when the pandemic happened, I could literally feel it and deep in my heart, like, the sacred feminine is here, Shakti.
Yeah.
Whoa, she did again. She did it again. And I think it's like this whole wave of that, must connect with an energy happening. I think that's why people will need more and more breathing, more and more breath work and different tools so that they can manage the new way of being. I think we're just transforming into the next level of humans right now as we're speaking.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, thank you. This is nice. I think you're opening me up. I'm opening you up. This is a great conversation.
I know.
I could go on forever.
Honest to goodness, I know I could too. This just is filling me up so much.
Thank you for listening to us today. I hope we are filling you up too. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you. Bye.